Okay, so my computer tells me that I am live. I'm using brand new software today, and I'm also attempting to go live into Instagram at the same time. So we are crossing our fingers for that. So hopefully, I've got some wonderful women joining me today. So welcome to the first episode, the launch of Thrive Live. My name is Cora Darlington, and I'm a burnout breakthrough specialist, specifically working for women in business who are done with the grind and the struggle and the overwhelm, and are really ready to breathe life, to breathe space, to breathe ease and flow and balance into their lives and into their businesses. Now, I'm going to be here every single week at 12:30 p.m. BST with loads and loads of powerful and practical tools and tips and strategies that will allow you to create a life that feels fulfilled, where you feel alive, and where you can create big success without the sacrifice and without the struggle, which we for sure have been conditioned to believe is necessary. So we for sure have been conditioned to believe that if we want big success, then what is involved in that is big sacrifice and big struggle. And I'm going to be here talking to you about why I know that that is not the case. It does not have to be like that unless we choose it. It's what we're going to be talking about today. But before we dive in, I want to let you know that in the comments box after this live, I'm going to be posting a few things. One is a link to be able to book into a free masterclass that I'm running at the moment, which is going to unpack everything that we're talking about today more deeply and a lot more. And I'm also going to be posting into the comment box a link to be able to book a call with me. So after you've heard today's live, if you want to explore what it looks like to work with me, and there's lots of different options for that, you can do that. So let's dive into episode 1, which is if you are struggling, guess what? It's your fault. Now, I'm really aware that when I wrote this title, it would be a trigger for lots of us. And I wrote it on purpose because I really wanted it to be thought-provoking. I really wanted to take a look at what our responsibility is to this struggle, what our part in this struggle is, because we have got a part in it. So one thing that I know for sure is before balance and ease and flow and all of those wonderful things can be available, before our lives can be any easier, we have to be willing to give up the struggle. We have to be willing and ready to give up the struggle. And guess what? A lot of the time we don't want to. We don't want to, or we're not ready to. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, is she absolutely crazy? There is no way that I would have signed up to my life feeling like it feels, which is for a lot of us overwhelmed, especially in the times that we're in at the moment, overwhelmed, anxious, and just in continuous cycles of struggle, and often illness as well is the thing. So this is a big thing that I want you to hear when I say it. If you are continuing to struggle, and you don't want to. So if you are continuing to struggle with a thing or lots of things and you want it to change, but it isn't. So if you are continuing to struggle with one or more things and you don't want it to, you really want it to change, but it isn't, you are in some way the issue. You are enabling this struggle to continue. And even more than that, if you look really closely, it is somehow serving you. There will be a way that staying stuck in this cycle of struggle is somehow serving you. There is actually a payoff for you somewhere. Now, your mind might throw that straight out, but I want you to bear with me. So what are the payoffs? And I've got some notes because there's lots of things that I want to cover with you today on the episode. So payoff number 1, you get external validation and approval, because we live in a culture that really does celebrate stress and struggle. We love a struggle story. And if you hear me, you will really resonate with what I'm saying. We love a struggle story. So when somebody, succeeds, but they went through so much struggle first, we really, really applaud that. And lots of us have bought into the rise and grind culture. And we wear our exhaustion and our overwhelm like some kind of badge of honor. But the badge of honor that says, look how much I deserve my success. Look how much I've earned it. Because somewhere along the line, our belief system says that we can't have success without all of that struggle first. And somehow along the line, external validation and external approval has become really, really important to us. That's a driver outside of ourselves to prove to people that we can succeed and that we're worthy of our success. And we like to look busy and exhausted. We really like to look busy and exhausted. And we have formed strong identities around that. Like we're attached to a particular identity around that. And that identity leaves no room for flow and ease and balance and care of self. And that gets even worse when we are high performers and perfectionists, because we're literally out there treating ourselves like human performance machines. And while we're treating ourselves like human performance machines, there is no space for care of self. There is no space for ease and flow and balance and all the things that we say that we want. Okay, so payoff number 2, we get to be the victim. Now that one can feel really stingy to be with. We get to be the victim. We like that, okay? It's what I call a martyrdom syndrome. As victims, we feel sorry for ourselves and other people feel sorry for us. And we want life to be different. We really want life to be different so that we can feel better, or we really want other people to be different so that we can feel better. And in a very real way, what we are doing is actually avoiding or getting out of taking full responsibility of our own lives, like taking charge of our own lives. Because you know, when you think about taking charge of your own life, very often that means having uncomfortable conversations, and we don't like doing that, and doing things differently. And sometimes we're not ready for that. So this is a moment in this episode, for those of you that are watching live and for those of you that are going to be watching the playback, to ask yourself this question and be radically, radically honest with yourself. So ask yourself these questions. Do I actually want it to be easier? So do I actually want it to be easier? Do I want to let go of the struggle? And look really, really closely. So radical honesty. Do I actually want it to be easier? And do I want to let go of the struggle? And then you're going to ask yourself, what would I have to give up? So what would I have to give up for it to be easier? What would I have to give up to let go of this struggle, to move myself out of this cycle of struggle? Because while you have a strong identity attachment to the struggle, ease and flow is simply not available. While you have the identity attachment to victim, empowerment, making empowered decisions, being empowered in your life and business is not available, because you're over there handing over all of your power to external circumstances and people who, by the way, are never ever going to give you permission to feel the way that you want to feel in your life and business. They are not going to let you out of the struggle. The only person that can do that is you. Okay, now you remember this is going to stay on the page. You can watch the playback and you can write those questions down if you want to. And then, so what to do about that? Okay, so what to do about that? Because it's really, really important when I come on, I give you things that you can start to do to move out of these cycles that we feel stuck in. So number 1 is be radically honest with yourself. Be radically honest with yourself and decide what you really want. Do you want struggle or do you want ease? Do you want exhaustion or do you want well-being? It sounds crazy that I would ask you those questions, because your mind would automatically go to, well, of course I want ease and of course I want well-being, but have a look at the way that you are being in your life and see if that is true. Okay, because very often our actions and our approach is not cohesive with that. The reason why I'm asking you those questions is because you really do get to say how this goes. You really do get to say how this goes. And you can look out there in the world, especially right now, mightily, so much stuff that we feel like we've got no control over. But while we're out there looking at all the things we haven't got any control over, we're not here with ourselves looking at the vast amount of things that we have control over. Okay, so you really do get to decide how this goes for you. You really do get to be the architect of your own life experience. Now, the whole body of my work is built around becoming the architect of your own life experience. And I talk about this. I'm going to be talking about this in other episodes to follow. And I talk about it all the time in the masterclass. So you really do get to be the architect of your own life, but you have to decide where you're at, because if you've got your feet in struggle, you can't be over there in ease. It's just they exist in two different spaces completely in terms of approach and mindset. Number 2 is to get present to the ways of being that have you stuck. So get present to the ways of being, the ways that you're being in your life that are having you stuck. And one of the best ways I know to do that, one of the most transformational tools of my life has been to reflect. Daily reflection time is vitally important if you want a stronger, more deep relationship with who you are. So for this specific topic, what I'm talking about is taking a tiny bit of time at the end of every day and reflecting on these questions. Where did I choose struggle over ease today? So where did I choose struggle over ease today? Where could I have been kinder to myself? Where could I have allowed it to be easier? Well, those types of questions, okay? So where did I choose struggle over ease today? Where could I have been kinder to myself? Where could I have I allowed it to be easier? And then you're going even deeper than that, because you're asking yourself, then what was the payoff for me? So what was the payoff for me to choose the struggle? What was the payoff for me to have not been kinder to myself? Where was the payoff for me to have not allowed it to be easier? If you ask yourself those questions, something is going to show up for you. You're going to start to see, you're going to become really present to where your enablement of this is. What types of things you are doing to add to your stuckness. And I want you to do that over a decent period of time, right? You need to do it over a decent period of time in order for you to be able to see some things show up regularly, so you can see some patterns. So over the next few weeks, just ask yourself those questions. And I've got lots to say about this, and I'm going to be unpacking this more and lots of other topics in the coming weeks. But I just want to leave you with this question. Are you ready and willing to give up the struggle? Are you ready and willing to give up the struggle? Are you ready to take responsibility of your life? And I really want you to be with those questions, because they're powerful, powerful questions. Wonderful. Okay. So before I finish off, before I close out for today's episode, remember what I said right at the beginning. I am going to be putting a couple of links into the comments box underneath this live. One is to book into a free masterclass that I've got running, where I unpack all of this and more, a lot more deeply. I also really talk about all of the specific tools I use within my coaching, so have a look at that. And I'm also going to be posting a link to book a call with me. So if you've listened to me today and you want to explore what it looks like to work with me, lots of different ways that you can do that, then you will also have the link to book the call. So thank you so much for those of you that logged in today live. I think right now my the software is telling me I've got like 16 of you on, I think, which is great. Okay, thank you very much for joining me. I will see you next week.